The mystery man just unmasked himself in the Raw backstage area, and Bron Breakker's worst nightmare has been revealed in the most heartbreaking and devastating way imaginable. I am sitting here absolutely shattered because the person who paralyzed Bron, who destroyed his career and nearly ended his life, just revealed themselves voluntarily, and the identity is so personal, so tragic, so absolutely soul-crushing that it transcends wrestling and becomes a story about family betrayal at its darkest. This wasn't a dramatic in-ring reveal or a management investigation. This was a confession driven by guilt, and when that mask came off backstage, Bron Breakker's entire world collapsed. If you're not prepared to have your heart broken by this reveal, stop watching now, because what I'm about to tell you will devastate you. The unmasking happened during what appeared to be a normal backstage segment on Monday Night Raw. Bron Breakker was in the trainer's room receiving treatment for his ongoing rehabilitation when the mystery man simply walked in through the door. No dramatic music, no lights going out, just a quiet, almost defeated entrance. The mystery man stood in the doorway for a long moment while Bron's back was turned. When Bron finally sensed someone's presence and turned around, he immediately froze seeing the mystery man standing there. Breakker's entire body went rigid with a mixture of fear, anger, and recognition. You could see Bron's fists clench, see the rage building in his face as he faced the person who'd tormented him for months. Bron started to lunge forward but stopped when the mystery man raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. And then the mystery man spoke, and the voice that came out made Bron Breakker physically recoil in shock. The voice was familiar, the tone was filled with pain and regret, and before Bron could even process what was happening, the mystery man reached up and slowly removed his mask. And when that face was revealed, Bron Breakker literally collapsed to his knees in disbelief. The mystery man who paralyzed Bron Breakker, who destroyed his career and nearly killed him, was revealed to be Rex Steiner, Bron's own brother. Yes, Bron's actual flesh and blood, his sibling, his family, was the person behind all the attacks. The betrayal wasn't from a jealous rival or a bitter veteran. It was from the person Bron should have been able to trust more than anyone in the world. The emotion on Bron Breakker's face was absolutely devastating to witness. Tears immediately started streaming down his face as he looked at his brother and said one word: why? The pain, confusion, and heartbreak in that single word was overwhelming. This wasn't just finding out who attacked him. This was discovering that his own family tried to end his career. Rex Steiner stood there with tears in his eyes and began explaining his twisted motivations. Rex said, "Bron, I've lived in your shadow my entire life. You're younger than me, but you got called up to WWE first. You got the opportunities, the push, the Steiner legacy attached to your name while I was forgotten. Dad talked about your potential, your future, while I was just invisible." The jealousy between brothers was tragic. Bron Breakker was shaking as he listened to his brother's confession. Bron said through tears, "So you paralyzed me. You nearly killed me because you were jealous. Rex, I'm your brother. How could family do this to family?" The anguish in Bron's voice was absolutely heartbreaking. This wasn't anger at an enemy, this was betrayal by blood. Rex Steiner continued his confession with genuine remorse visible on his face. Rex said, "It started as just wanting to humble you, to show WWE that you weren't invincible. But then I saw how much attention the attacks were getting, how much people cared about you while still nobody cared about me. The jealousy consumed me, Bron. I took it too far. When you were paralyzed, I realized what I'd done, but I couldn't stop. I was too deep in." The admission of losing control was chilling. By this time, other people had gathered in the hallway outside the trainer's room, wrestlers, staff, all watching this family tragedy unfold. Triple H was standing there looking absolutely devastated. This wasn't just a wrestling storyline anymore. This was a real family being destroyed in front of everyone. Bron Breakker pulled himself to his feet and got right in Rex's face. With tears still streaming, Bron said, "You're not my brother anymore. A brother doesn't paralyze his own flesh and blood. A brother doesn't destroy his family because of jealousy. You're dead to me, Rex. Dead to me." The finality in Bron's words was crushing. Rex Steiner broke down completely at those words. He fell to his knees sobbing and said, "Bron, please. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything to make this right. Please don't shut me out. You're all I have. The desperation and genuine remorse was visible, but the damage was done. Some actions are too evil to be forgiven, even from family. And then Scott Steiner, the boy's father, appeared in the hallway, and what happened next was even more heartbreaking. Scott looked at both his sons, one paralyzed by the other, both crying, their relationship destroyed, and you could see a father's heart breaking. Scott said, "Rex, what have you done? You destroyed your brother. You destroyed our family. How am I supposed to look at you now?" Rex turned to his father with desperation and said, "Dad, please. I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but I'm still your son." And Scott Steiner's response will echo through wrestling history forever. Scott said, "I have one son now. Bron is my son. You're just someone who shares my DNA. Get out of my sight before I do something I'll regret." The disowning was complete and final. Triple H stepped forward and announced that Rex Steiner was being arrested immediately for his crimes. Police were already on scene, having been alerted to the situation. As officers handcuffed Rex, the young man was sobbing uncontrollably, begging Bron for forgiveness, begging his father for another chance. But both Bron and Scott turned their backs on him, a gesture more devastating than any words. As police led Rex Steiner away, the camera captured one final moment, Rex looking back at his brother one last time with such pain and regret in his eyes, while Bron stood supported by his father, refusing to even look at Rex. The finality of their relationship ending was complete. Let me tell you why this reveal is the most tragic in wrestling history. Brother attacking brother out of jealousy isn't just a storyline, it's a real dynamic that exists in families everywhere. The Steiner family just had their darkest moment exposed for the world to see. This isn't entertainment, this is genuine family trauma. The psychology behind Rex's actions, while inexcusable, is understandable from a human perspective. Living in a sibling's shadow, feeling overlooked and forgotten, these are real emotions that can corrupt people. Rex's jealousy transformed into something monstrous. It's a cautionary tale about how resentment can destroy families. Scott Steiner's position is absolutely heartbreaking. How do you choose between your sons? How do you disown one child while supporting another? The impossible position Scott was put in, having to reject Rex to support Bron, shows the devastating consequences of Rex's actions. Scott didn't just lose one son, he lost his entire family unit. Bron Breakker's declaration that Rex is dead to him is understandable but also tragic. Can family ties ever be completely severed? Will there come a day when Bron can forgive Rex? Or is this betrayal too deep, too evil to ever overcome? The questions about family forgiveness are complex. The WWE locker room witnessing this family implosion has been affected deeply. Multiple wrestlers posted messages expressing how heartbroken they are for the Steiner family. This wasn't just catching a villain, this was watching a family destroy itself. The emotional impact extends beyond just Bron. The legal consequences for Rex Steiner are severe and deserved. Paralyzed his own brother, nearly killed him, all driven by jealousy. Rex is facing decades in prison. His wrestling career never even started because he destroyed it with his own actions. The waste of potential is staggering. Social media reaction has been unprecedented. People aren't just discussing the reveal, they're sharing their own stories of family betrayal and sibling rivalry. The Steiner family's tragedy has resonated beyond wrestling. It's touched a universal nerve about family dynamics. Here's what makes this reveal so much darker than typical wrestling storylines: there's no redemption arc that makes sense here. How do you redeem someone who paralyzed their own brother? How do you rebuild a family after this level of betrayal? The real-world implications make traditional wrestling storytelling impossible. The future for Bron Breakker is uncertain emotionally. Yes, he now knows who attacked him and can seek justice. But he also has to live with knowing his own brother tried to end his career. The psychological scars from this betrayal might be worse than the physical injuries. Scott Steiner's wrestling legacy is now forever tainted by what Rex did. The Steiner brothers, one of wrestling's greatest tag teams, now has this dark chapter. Scott has to live with people asking, "How did your son turn out like this?" The family shame is permanent. Rex Steiner's confession, while taking responsibility, doesn't excuse his actions. Saying, "I'm sorry," after paralyzing your brother is inadequate. Jealousy explains his motivation but doesn't justify attempted murder. Rex will rightfully spend years in prison thinking about what his jealousy cost him. The lesson from this tragedy is that jealousy and resentment within families can lead to devastating consequences. The Steiner family's private pain became public tragedy. This should serve as a warning about addressing family issues before they escalate to violence. I want your reaction to this heartbreaking reveal. Drop your comments about whether Bron can ever forgive Rex. Hit that like button if your heart broke for the Steiner family. Subscribe to Ring Rumble 1 with notifications on because this story continues. Can families heal from this? Should Bron forgive? What happens to Rex? Let me know everything because Raw just delivered the most tragic family story in wrestling history, and the Steiner legacy will never be the same.